Okay. All right. I'd like to call the Citizens Committee to order. I know that there are a few people that aren't going to be able to make it this evening. Chief Rogers had another meeting he had to attend, though Lieutenant McCarter, I saw, is here. And Paul Miller is not going to be able to join us until later. And Roger Osgood may or may not make it this evening. So, so that said, let me look at the agenda. I think we were going to go straight into Subcommittee B breakout meetings, and then we'll reconvene after that to discuss recommendations and progress and plan then for further work and meetings. I feel like we are substantially far along, but we'll know really how far along we are after the Group B groups have had one more chance to meet. So,
Mayor,
yes.
I asked if anybody had suggestions how the police could interact with people. Does anybody have a suggestion?
I came across an article that I sent late in the day, though, to
Our group.
my subcommittee, because we have bridge building with police. And it was from the the Sun Press on July 16th, and the commentary on page A12, maybe it is the Plain Dealer, I don't even know, the Sun Press. And it's Richmond Heights has a 4-part program with youth. Lieutenant McCarter, are you familiar with that? Because they seem really excited about it, at least in the way they wrote this commentary.
So is a 4-part program for youth?
Youth.
Yeah.
I'm not specifically familiar with that program that they offer in Richmond Heights. We did have one time from 1992 until 2012, I believe, a DARE program instituted in Jesu Elementary School and Garrity Elementary School.
Yep.
And
Yep.
under the prior administration, it was discontinued for reasons I don't know why, but that program was just discontinued. I was the DARE instructor for both schools for 20 years at those locations, and it was a very effective program, and it received a lot of accolades, both from parents, teachers, and students. So
Really?
It's something that I was proud of, and I thought it helped along the engagement between the students and our police department.
Lieutenant McCarter, I do remember, now you look familiar to me. I used to go to Garrity in the early 90s. You came to my school. I remember you came to you had the assembly and you were there.
Yep.
Did it help you,
And I'm all
Ron?
grown up now.
Ron, did you like it? Just curious.
It was a good I don't do drugs and I stayed out of trouble.
There you go. Okay, we look at it again.
Well, one thing I
don't know. My school, our DARE club in high school used to dress up with their DARE shirts, and then they would come to school drunk on Fridays wearing their DARE shirts, and that was like the stick that they did every week.
One thing, if I may add, that I really enjoy from the program years after not being connected with it is that I have every now and then I have individuals come up to me, and they're probably in their mid to early 30s, and they approach me, and I really appreciate it, and they say, do you know who I am? I says, well, I really don't. And they say, well, you were my DARE instructor in 5th grade. And I think that's a very pleasant experience that they do remember and recall their officer that was, I hope, a bit of an inspiration to them in 5th grade. And I'm pleased that it carried for so many years.
Okay, Sherry, you're actually on our committee, so I
Right,
think,
we're on the same committee.
I'm the same group. So why don't we do that? And then I stepped in front of Michael. I didn't mean to.
I think that the DARE program may be worth looking at again with an update. You know, that's about 8 years ago, and things have changed a little bit. We know more. Maybe you look at it first, Lieutenant McCarter, and you put your pen to it, like what you think might be an improvement, just based on 8 more years of experience and the world changing. Yeah. And then this committee can look at it as part of maybe what we start.
And one thing that we have instituted when we started the community policing office back in 2018 was an relationship with Gary School and Jesus School, but in a simple fact where the officers could just simply walk through the school, say hello to the kids, introduce themselves to the kids. And we have a few officers that in fact did do that. And I found that to be very effective as well. They sit in the lunchroom with the kids and enjoy lunch with them. And I think that was a very good positive engagement between our officers and the kids. And we'd like that to continue. And then with the COVID happening this year, that kind of like took a back seat to everything. So we kind of discontinued that temporarily.
Okay, I didn't mean to step on you, Mayor.
No, it's okay. It's that's quite all right. That's quite all right. Shall we go ahead and before we break up into the subcommittee B groups, just as a matter of housekeeping, how long do you want to be in that committee room? 45 minutes? Would that be enough, or is that too long? Neil, I think you're talking, but you're muted.
I don't know if we'll need more than that. Probably not as much time as that.
Okay, should we go just a half hour?
Sure.
All
Sure.
right, well, why don't we do 30 minutes? We can always go back in if we find that.
Okay.
All right, we'll do 30 minutes. Before I send you into breakout rooms, Lieutenant McCarter, Councilwoman Berry, and Prosecutor Scalise, is there any particular one of these committees you want to go to? Number one is the Lexipol / communication / bridge building with the police. Room 2 is outreach. Room 3 is de-escalation.
I'm happy to go anywhere. They all sound interesting to me.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind doing number 1, please.
Number 1? Okay,
Yes.
sounds good.
That'd be nice to have you there.
All right, I'll send Carter there. Joe, it looks like you're logged in twice, so I should send you, both of you, to outreach.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds good. Can you hear me? I have no idea, but yes, thank you.
Oh, Jim Outman. Okay, so the JO, I'm sorry, I saw, but yeah, Jim, we can do that.
Whatever you would know as well as I what I'd be interested in.
No. It's just, I saw Joanna Holman, and then you logged on as JO, and I thought Joanna Holman was logged on twice. I didn't put together JO was Jim Outman. But Jim,
Yeah,
happy to send you to committee room 2. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And then Stephanie, I'm going to send you to 3 for de-escalation since you could go anywhere.
Sounds good.
How's that sound?
I love it.
Good. And Mrs. Berry.
Well, you might as well send me to the other one.
I would like to say something before we break out really fast to the
Okay.
de-escalation group.
All right.
I think I mentioned early on that where I work at JFSA, we have some interaction with de-escalation in Cuyahoga County. I wrote a grant, it was a long time ago, and I finally caught up with my colleagues today, and they shared some very interesting information. I forwarded it to Chief Rogers and I copied Councilwoman Berry, but I just want to give that subcommittee a heads up that there's a program that's been used. It's the CIT program. It's different than what I wrote, but it's an established program that over the past 3 or so years has been revamped with significant stakeholders in our area and is being used by other city police departments. One thing that I found really interesting is it's a 40-hour training, and part of the training includes not the social workers driving in the cars with the police officers. It includes the police officers going out on visits to people with mental health and other disabilities with the social workers to see what it's like to be a case manager and how people present in their everyday life. So it's just something that's out there. I hope that Chief Rogers does a little research. Maybe Lieutenant McCarter, I don't know if you're familiar with that, if University Heights is involved in any way, but it wasn't part of the, that 40-hour course didn't pop up as part of the training, which I think it would have because it sounds significant. So if it's not familiar, and And you once mentioned we have like 5 cities that we work with, like Beechwood, and if I've, I know that in some of those cities they are using it. So you have professional colleagues that you could talk about and find out the good, the bad, the ugly, and maybe it's something we don't have to recreate the wheel, but there may be something that is effective. So I'll leave it at that. But before you put a lot of effort into thinking how are we going to do de-escalation, there is something that is being currently used in our greater area.
Mm.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Very good.
Barry's going to go. Now, who has the copy? Mrs. Barry. So she's going to be in that room, right?
Mrs. Berry is going to be in the outreach room.
Yeah, I think it's premature, to really talk all about it. I think that, like I said, Chief Rogers and maybe with Councilwoman Berry should look into it, however the dynamics work. But I'm just saying that there is something out there to consider. Whether or not we adopt it is, we have to do what's best for University Heights, but it sure would be nice to have something that we could look at and consider.
Yeah, no, it's worth looking at. It's also good to do our own analysis too. So,
Yes.
all of this is good. So I don't want that to serve as discouragement to our de-escalation folks to that
No,
there's other
that's
resources.
something to look at.
But we should, at some point look at it. But yeah, nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead. You'll be in the breakout rooms for half an hour, and then I'll bring you back out. If something comes up where you want to exit the break room early, just exit, and I'll be out here waiting for you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to send you now. So you'll get your invitations, and you are welcome to break out. Thank you. Hi, Leo. Breakout rooms are closing.
Mayor, the breakout rooms, they weren't being recorded, right?
Correct. We don't have a way of doing that.
So you'll never hear any of the things I said about you. Okay, good.
Please fill out your census.
No, I'm afraid not.
Fill out your census.
There with that.
Fill out your census.
Fill out your census.
Not yet.
Oh yeah.
Tell everybody. Fill out your
Fill
census.
out your census.
Did everybody mail in?
My mom filled mine out already, so I'm straight.
Good. Tell every household. Fill out your census.
What's the deadline for that?
Crystal,
The end of this
were
month.
you? I think I saw.
End of September.
End of
End
September.
of September.
I saw someone by the park, a census worker, just the other day.
Really?
I'm not a census worker.
That wasn't you. Okay. She had on a scarf, kind of like that. No.
Well, we have, as of August 9th, our census turnout is just a little over 70%.
Ooh.
We've
It's
really
like-
only had but basically 3 out of 10 households in University Heights still haven't replied, and that's not good. We need
No,
to
that's not good.
Do you
Yeah.
know who they are, or you don't know?
How does that compare to 2010, or do we not know?
Yeah, coronavirus really has messed everything up. It
Yeah.
really has.
Yeah. Okay. Well, several things. One, because of privacy, we don't know who they are. We're not allowed to just find out which households they are and knock on those doors. And
Go up their door like, hey, did you fill out your census?
yeah, we only know We only know that based upon the 4 census tracts in University Heights, how each one is doing. And the census tract to the east is lagging a little bit. The census tract in the center and to the northwest are middling, and then the one that's in the southwest is doing the best. But still, it's just when you put all 3 together, it's just a little over 70%. So, you know, anything you can do to get your friends and neighbors to fill out the census, it's really important. You know how we're all getting CARES Act money because of COVID? That's based upon population. So if our population's underreported, we don't get as much aid.
Right.
Right.
And did everybody mail in their ballots, their applications for a ballot?
Yes.
Oh yeah, hey, I'm always on top of things. Trust me. You ain't got to ask me twice about doing anything, something like that. I'm on top of things.
Can there be an article about that in the Sun Press or the newspaper? I don't know if people.
I'm sure.
They read or they don't read.
Yeah, well, yes, there's going to be more about that. It's going to be, we're going to resume the hard copy of the newsletter. I mean, we've been doing a newsletter basically twice a week lately. Every time the governor speaks, we do an at your service newsletter. But the one that goes out to the seniors, it's actually printed, is going to have voting information on there, reminding people, and census information on there, and will also be emailed to everybody who's on the email list. So
Right.
will be more of that. The other thing you should know, and there'll be more of this publicized too, several of the precincts are changing their voting location. So the people who are actually voting in person, that's changing with this election, where you go for some
Oh,
folks.
we know.
Yeah, I live in precinct H, which is basically the eastern half of University Heights by the Beechwood border. I know we were going to John Carroll, and now we're supposed to be going to
Garrity.
back to Garrity again. Which
Where?
That's why I used to, Garrity Elementary School.
Oh, Garrity.
H is going from John Carroll to Garrity, where I
Oh,
used
it was
to
the
go when I was
opposite before. We've
Yeah,
been
like
to Garrity and John Carroll and
Garrity is actually located in Precinct H. So you could live right next door to Garrity, but you still had to drive to John Carroll, even though Garrity was a polling.
I
walk up there.
preferred Garrity.
So that has changed. People who live by Garrity will actually get to vote at Garrity. But then people in Precinct C and D who used to vote at Garrity are going to be voting at John Carroll. And the other thing is John Carroll used to use the Dolan Science Center. They're now going to use the gym because they can more easily.
But they also used to use the gym.
But they're going to use it again. So they're going back.
Because that science center was so small. I literally felt like I was going to bump into somebody. It was just like literally I had no room. I couldn't even like breathe.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm happy to talk about those things, but they're not really on our agenda. So I should probably get back to that. How did it go? Do you need more time, or are you satisfied with what you did in the last few minutes?
I think we covered.
Is this the last time that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if this will be the last time that we break into subcommittees or not. I guess there's 2 questions. One is did you get enough time to finish up your subcommittee B topic? Do you need more time to do that? I think the subcommittee A's are basically exhausted. And then it's just a matter of what do we have left to do to put all of our ideas together into a coherent recommendation to be presented at City Council in September.
Right.
I know that we've used, and when I say this, I appreciate how much of your time you've already spent towards this. I mean, it's a lot to ask of a citizens group. We've met every week, every Wednesday for 1 to 2 hours. Those of you who are in the use of force subcommittee, I think you met on Monday, so thanks for that too. So that said,
You did most of the work in our committee, and how do you feel? Do you think we're finished?
Who are you asking?
Who are you asking?
Jerry Sachs.
You're asking me?
Yeah, that you did most of the work.
Yeah, and I think we had discussion. I actually have to go now, but maybe Crystal or Dr. Stokes or You know, the others can.
I think that we're fine. I think that we got through enough recommendations. I don't think that we'll be able to resolve this. I think it's really something that but we can definitely speak to what recommendations we feel like are appropriate, at least to give a couple, directional ideas.
Yeah, I agree.
It was so helpful to have the lieutenant with us today.
Mhm.
He was very informative.
Okay.
Well, from the committees I sat in on, I think they all have pretty good recommendations to present to council. I think maybe we might need to maybe collect those recommendations up. Maybe I'm not sure that I'm a good editor or anything like that. They can present it, but we just need to kind of plan how the presentation to the council would be.
Well, would it make sense to collect all the recommendations, put them onto an agenda, and then we just kind of go through them as a group?
Yeah.
And then,
I agree.
and then from there, we can either sign off on that as being the committee's recommendations, or if there's something that as a group we don't necessarily want or want to refine, we can make those adjustments then.
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion, like on Google Drive that we have? Like, could we have a PowerPoint that would be like the kind of each one, and then what their like bullet point version of a recommendation would be, or like a link to the document, or
well,
so it'll all be in one place that would be presentable? Is
Yeah,
that what you're doing this for?
I think having a single document would be good. I mean, there is a way of doing a share screen. So as the host, I can do that. So if we had a compiled document, I could share the screen to show that. For instance, I can share this screen right here. And can you see that? It's the agenda.
Yeah.
So here I've got the agenda for today's meeting up on the share screen, and I could change that to be our list of possible recommendations, and then everybody can see them and we can talk about them.
That'll work.
That's good.
I do think we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we did have these subcommittees.
Sure.
I would just be worried that I agree there should be one document, but maybe it can be broken down by subcommittee so council knows how this was all organized and how these recommendations fit into different areas.
I wanted the document that you would share to be like a Google Slides presentation. So that way each committee would make their own slides with their own recommendations. That was kind of my
that we could do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be better, because I think that'd be better because it kind of shows that the diversity and really gets into the meat and gritty of it. We have more time to like possibly present certain points of view, which instead of just writing them in general, we can actually present them and give like little sub branches to them.
Okay.
And what's nice about doing it as a presentation is I think we should limit because very, very wordy slides are people zone out. So if it's like you need to do 3 bullet points and that's it, and then in the notes we can have everything we've talked about, everything we want to share. So Ron, to the giving the context, that can be okay. If it's too long, you don't read it. In the big thing, you can at least see them on the bullet points. If we can all have discipline to kind of keep them brief.
Can you take it down, Mayor?
Yes. What's
Thank
that?
you.
Can we make a commitment to max 5 bullet points on a slide as a group?
I was just going to say, you can also link documents in slides. So if we can link our more wordy documents in the PowerPoint, that may be a way for people who want to see more, they can have that opportunity.
Eventually we might want city council to see more, right? We might want Chief Rogers to see more. I mean, we're just talking about as we go over it ourselves, we want to kind of keep it
Right.
brief and manageable.
Mhm.
Right.
But
Okay.
I think we're all talking about it as a package, right? Like we have the stuff that's on, like just like you do for work. You have the presentation that everyone looks at, and then you have your own notes and all the things that you're speaking from. So we have both available, just not all at once. And then I think that's the deliverable that we all commit to doing. So each
Right,
committee basically has a secretary that prepares it all.
It's like the presentation slides. Here's the slides, and then we're just giving the presentation. Boom, 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 and then it's like if you, for further reading, for reading more, here's the long document where you can read it word for word.
Yeah.
Mhm. Am I still sharing my screen with the agenda on it?
Yes.
Yep.
Because I'm just trying to figure out how to stop that.
You just go to
There's
it
an
should,
X at the top of the screen, I think, right?
I think it
Or
says
the thing at the
like
bottom.
swap
It
screen or
should say
something.
stop sharing on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swap share screen with video or something like that.
Yeah, I'm just having difficulty bringing up my meeting controls in order to do.
I just slid up with my finger.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's not going to work for me.
Can you, if you move your cursor at the very bottom of the screen, there's a green box that says share screen. It should also say stop sharing screen.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. Oh, you know what? I see it now. You know what? Here's the problem. I have two monitors. It was on the other monitor.
Oh.
All right, let me hit stop share. Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Sorry about that.
Sí se puede.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So, do you want to go back? How do we want to handle putting together these slides then?
Maybe
Wrestling with that, I don't know.
I think maybe one group
Mhm.
should, you know, they should appoint one person to be like the scribe or note taker to kind of like put it together and, you know, share it with the group, email it to the group and see if it's acceptable because, yeah, I mean, that's my guesstimate.
I'm wondering, I know that we have Google Doc where we can all edit a doc together. Can we do like, is there like a Google Slides or something?
There is. Yep.
Okay. I'm wondering if that would be a way to do it.
I was going to say it might be easiest to make a Google slide and give each group a slide in Google Slides. And then you can go in and edit that slide. So that way we don't have 5 different documents that we need to combine. It will already be one document as we're moving forward.
One.
Can Rachel's the one who's the techie at City Hall. Can she make one with each of the, how many subgroups are there? 8? Can she make a template for us?
6 subgroups. There's 6 subgroups. So,
6.
Okay.
yeah, I think we could do that. I think Rachel or somebody here would be able to make 6 slides that are then in the shared drive. Everybody's been able to get into the shared drive now, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I can get in, but I haven't been able to post anything on.
You could put the links to your Google Docs right in the slide, like at the bottom, right on the slideshow. So that if someone's looking at the slideshow, they can click on that link and read more detail.
And just so I'm clear, I'm sorry.
Neil, you were saying you're not able to edit in the Google Docs.
Right.
All right, we'll have to make sure.
Which Google Docs? Because some of the Google Docs are not editable, like the PDFs.
Right, those aren't.
Right. So I don't know if the document he wanted to edit was not editable, or if all of the documents weren't editable for him.
Well, I tried a number of things, and I think that the issue is that I don't do, you know, I try to avoid Google, so I don't have many of the tools on my systems here that would enable it. I'm willing to scrap one of my systems and add the Google.
But it shouldn't be that. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't require anything that drastic.
I mean, sorry.
Permissions aren't set the way they should be for you.
Does one require a Gmail in order to be able to edit a Google Doc? Like,
Yes, and the trouble is that it wouldn't accept the Gmail that I have.
You don't have to have Gmail.
Well, you don't have to have Gmail, but it's
You
helpful.
just have to have editing rights. So whoever creates it needs to give everybody editing rights to the Google Slides.
We need to make sure that when you're signed in, that you're using the email account that you gave us, so that, because we gave editing rights to all the emails we had on file, whether they were Google or other accounts.
Then we just have to make sure that, you know, we're careful when we're in there editing, that we don't erase other people's things.
Yeah, I mean, if you individually are having difficulty editing, you know, email me and Rachel and I will go over it. Okay. And just the email you want us to use to give permission to.
Yeah, and that might have been my problem too, because I do have a Gmail account, more than one actually, that I never use because I have my own server. So I don't.
Well, maybe you were in Google Docs with your Gmail account.
That's it. That's it.
And we gave permission to your non-Gmail.
My Gmail. Okay. I'll give that. I'll log in with my non-Gmail account.
Maybe that'll do it. Okay.
All right, I'll try that.
I had a question about outreach. I wasn't a part of that committee, but I just wonder, it seems like outreach is something a little separate from the other 5. I just, maybe someone from outreach can speak to this. I thought outreach was going to try to get information from the community for our September report, but maybe that was not the purpose. The purpose was to get outreach after our September report from the community. I just wonder if that group would have not necessarily a separate presentation, but for council to understand, because if I'm not really understanding it, you know.
Well, no, I think if I'm on that subcommittee. I think that if we say, okay, we've gathered as 20 some odd people, and you know, members of council and city government, and has this discussion, and now we have recommendations that we're going to share, but we also want to open the conversation up. I feel like being able to say, here's the ways we recommend opening the conversation up and inviting other voices, and I feel like is completely appropriate with what everyone else is going to talk about, because the opinions and the experiences we might solicit from the citizens is going to inform directly on what we've already talked about, to see, you know, okay, what are people interested in learning more about? What are people confused about? That kind of thing.
That helps a lot. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be clear on something. Now, I know that we want to have a PowerPoint presentation slides for each subcommittee to present and say, like, okay, here's our suggestions. Will we have a corresponding document with our recommendations literally spelled out, typed out, like word for word, here they are?
Well, Josh, one of the things I wanted to do was to put the document that we've been compiling with the suggestions that we have as an entire document up. And it's just a matter of what form we want to have that in, whether it's a docx or a PDF. But I was going to put the whole thing up there just for anyone to access it.
Right. Well, yeah, and I'm asking that
what
for,
you could
for
do,
all of us.
You could take the Google Doc and you could share it as a link in the slideshow. It could be on the screen as a link, and once you share it as a link, once it's finalized, your link doesn't have to have editing privileges. So like just anybody who's watching that slideshow, so let's say the slideshow ends up being posted on the City of University Heights website or Facebook page. Somebody could be watching that slideshow, or not watching it, but just looking at it, and they could click on the link and read the more detailed recommendations, and they would not have editing privileges, but they would have access to it. That's what I would recommend, so that the work doesn't get lost.
So each subcommittee will have their own detailed, written out version of their recommendations, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think it's important to have that, but I think put into what Neil's talking about, maybe like, I don't want to speak for you, but I can see like a master document, because not everyone's going to bother with, they might want to be able to page through and see everything at the same time. And maybe when we get to the point where we can audit it and cross-check it and be sure that everything kind of goes together, that can be, you know, a bigger goal. But I definitely want to retain all of the notes that all of us took. This is a lot of emotional labor and it's important stuff.
Yeah, no, I think a master document is a good idea. I mean, having the slides for a presentation is one thing, but you know, let's not lose the core original item upon which the slides were based.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So my question then for all of you is how do we proceed from here? Do you need more time here at this point? Do you want to do this work in the Google Docs? Do you want to reconvene next week kind of as a status, see where we are and see what's left to be done? I feel like a lot of this is going to get done not during a Wednesday at 6 o'clock meeting, but on your own time.
Can we do like a roll call kind of through each group, because there's only 6, and
Sure.
see if we can make sure that each person at least has a point person who's going to commit to getting up, you know, the slide and the report, just to make sure that there's at least one point person who wants to be the coordinator on those.
That sounds like a good idea. Yes. So why don't we start with the A groups? First, we had the use of force, the General Order 130, 1 through 7. That was Patty, Ron, Josh, Crystal, and Scylla. I don't think Priscilla's with us. So who would be the point person there?
Not it.
Well, I thought point person is the person who takes notes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was me, remember?
Yeah, no, but also to be the person to put together the slide, or at least the rough draft, and then to do the written policy recommendation.
Yeah,
full.
take the first pass at writing it. Yeah.
So, the four,
I know
which
that
one?
Josh has also been involved in that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, you know, I have school, you know, so is that anybody else, or is it y'all just gonna let me do it?
Well,
Ron, listen, I'm happy to do it. I mean,
I'm messing with you. Don't forget. I mean, yeah, because I mean, I did, you know, I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, me,
Patty
like,
said she's
y'all
happy
did
to
it.
do it. Patty is the winner, apparently.
Okay, she said it. 1, 2, 3, not it. She said it.
Patty.
All right. So Patty's going to do it.
All right.
I didn't mean it like that, Patty. I mean, I meant it in like respectful manner.
If you want to email us when you get your rough draft out, I'm happy to give feedback. I just
Oh, heck
I know
yeah.
that I'm not responsible enough to get it together, and I don't want to drop the ball.
Kind of a procedural question, Mayor, maybe this is for you, and tell me if I've missed it. When I was trying to communicate with some of members of my other subcommittee, I was guessing at email addresses and who they went with.
Okay.
Is there a document that has already said these are the people in the committee and here's how we reach them? Because that would be really helpful.
If there's no objection, I will send everybody a list of names with email addresses, because even though the email addresses are in the header of the emails, you don't necessarily know who's who. Like Ron is like Big Ron or something, you know.
Yep, I had to put my name in there.
Like Big Ron 3000, you know.
It's a play on Andre 3000 from Outkast. That's what I made it up.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't know that. I'm like, if y'all remember Outkast, that's the other dude.
And my email, literally josh.hunt. So, you know, so that's obvious, but yeah.
Very mysterious. Yeah. But yes, we can put together that list.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then you can harass each other at will.
Hey.
Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do
That was a good point, Pat.
Patty, where is the thing you said you would do?
No.
Okay. All right. So Patty won the contest for the Group A1 group. So that takes us on to Group A2. Odesha, Neil, Aaliyah, Roger, Sherry, Mike, and Vince. I guess Sherry's not here, so you could all. No, I'm kidding. You do it among that group.
Just going to say, with the start of the school year, I cannot promise that I will get anything done that is not educationally related right now. So I may not be able to be the best person for that, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair.
Wait, isn't this what Neil did for a living?
It is, but I have a group that I'm pretty much going to have to deal with.
Yeah, de-escalate. He's had to do de-escalate.
He's the de-escalation king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was easy.
Who was it?
If Neil's going to do de-escalation, I could play around with the
Reporting and oversight?
yes, because
Okay.
I was at both of their all of their meetings, and really, I feel like I understand our recommendations and could put together a slideshow, unless Aaliyah wants to do it.
I am in the same boat as Odesha. This is my first week of school, and it's going to be interesting. So I would rather not commit to it right at this point.
Okay.
Oh, I see. You have the school excuse.
Right, and the thing is
okay.
it's not as
I'm
if the other
taking
members.
19 credit hours. It's going to be a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the other members of the subcommittee won't have input. This is just to get it down on paper.
Just
get
it
started.
started.
Figuratively.
So who won?
So Mike Sears won that one.
Mike Sears.
Right. So that brings us to non-lethal weapons. Indira, Joe, Sheila, Paul, and Sean.
I've pretty much got that already in our Google Notes. That's how we summarize everything, so I can just copy and paste.
Okay, that sounds great. So Joe has that one. All right. We'll move to subcommittee group B. The first one is Lexipol Communication Bridge Building with Police. This is Indira, Sheila, Crystal, Sherry, Vince, and Sean.
Sheila is incapable.
Oh.
So I don't have.
We should nominate Sherry since she's not here.
I agree. Well, she did though.
Sherry seemed to be have the best handle on it, but I'm willing to work on it with her, so I can reach out to her.
Okay, so Crystal, you're volunteering to let Sherry know.
Gonna coordinate which of us is gonna get to do that.
I'm gonna circle
It's
both,
all on you, Crystal.
and that the two of you are gonna figure that out. How's that sound?
The reason I'm mentioning this is that you may get a call that we don't hear, for whatever reason, from this cardiologist.
All right.
And okay, I looked at the test results and it was great.
Okay. Anyway.
Somebody's cardiologist was on the phone.
Yeah, no, Mr. Outman was unmuted, and I muted him. I don't think he realized he was.
I thought he was talking to us for a second. I was like, what?
Okay. Outreach. Odesha, Patty, Aaliyah, Roger, and Scylla.
We know Aaliyah and Odesha are out. What I'll say is, like, Joe, I don't know what you think. I mean, our notes are pretty much done, and we can just sort of beef up that. I can take it, you can take it. I don't have a preference either way. So if you're, I mean, I'm busy with the high holy days coming up too, but I have a little more breathing room, at least for the next couple of days, so I can just knock these out.
I think we can tag team it.
Okay, done.
Okay, so Patty and Joe will take care of this. Okay, and then de-escalation. Neil, you were going to do that, right?
I'll pull the main document together and try to do something with the slides, but if someone's willing to jump in and help with the slides, I'd be happy to let that.
Yeah, Neil, if you're having trouble with slides, you and I can coordinate that, and I can put the slides together for our subcommittee if you're having trouble.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, great. All right. Super. So the groups are going to do that. You're going to put those things together. The committee members are then going to look at each other's work. And then where do we go from there? Do you want to meet again next Wednesday and kind of go over where we are?
Sure.
I'd love to hear everyone else's findings and as
We dry run the slides.
Yeah.
I would at least like to see, like, oh, and here's our recommendations.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, great.
Are we waiting for the city to send us a slideshow like tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, unless one of you knows how to just do that in the Google Drive. I mean, I think anybody with editing privileges can just start it.
Well, yeah, because we're sharing like a whole drive.
Right.
So we can start anything within that drive.
And all of us will have access.
Okay.
And even if like someone's just working on their slide, they can always add it into the shared slideshow later if they, you know, if something got messed up, you could always just add your slide into the shared slideshow later.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
So we don't really need to wait for Rachel or create.
I don't think you need
for her.
to wait for Rachel or me or somebody to make a slide for you. You should all have editing privileges. If you don't have editing privileges, let me know and we will fix that.
Yeah.
Neil, I know, was going to send us his email that he never uses, but for this. All right. All right.
Bodacia, were you saying something?
I want to say I can make a Google slideshow really quick and put it into the folder if you want me to. It won't have any templates or nothing fancy in it, but it'll just have slides where you guys can go in and edit.
Can you make like the name of each subcommittee, like de-escalation, this, you know, and
Yes. Is there a place I can? Oh wait, let me see. Yeah, I can do that. Mhm.
Okay.
And
Yep.
I just want you to know, Odesha, I am going to be using your flow chart for an entire slide, just so you know.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. All right, great. Well, then we'll do that. Contact me with any issues. We will send an email list that has all the emails of all of you on it.
Thank
so
you.
that you can more easily get in touch with each other. And we will reconvene next Wednesday at 6 p.m. to go
Okay.
over.
All right, I'll be here.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great first week of school.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
Study
you.
hard.
Thank you, everybody.
Study hard.
Bless you.
Don't become a Zoom zombie.
Too late.
See you later. Bye.